Eileo guys, and welcome back. Hope you guys are all doing well. Anyways, we are back with another account review. Now this comes from Raunak. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. If not, this isn't the first time I've done it, so you know, I don't mean any disrespect in that. So let's go ahead and get right into it though. Alright, so starting off here, this volume is blasting, at least on my end, so let me turn it down just a little bit. Raunak has a couple of requests, and as always, I like to start off here with his Mon gem quality. I would say that I went through a lot of Mons on your account, and more times than not, a lot of your Mons are on triple attack. That's not inherently a bad thing, but I do warn you that giving all of your monsters triple attack in certain situations, especially in the PvP realm, is going to do more harm than good. In PvE, depending on what you're fighting, it may not really matter, but say for instance you're Fire Arthur here. I'm not saying that you can't build him offensively, but in a situation where he's not performing correctly, or if you want to use him in a PvP situation, he needs to be a lot more tankier because of his kit. So I would say make sure you go back through your Mon kit and whatever that you choose to use for PvP or defensively, that you take them off triple attack, because while this does raise his base damage, Arthur's moves don't coincide with him doing a lot of damage, at least for Fire Arthur. So do keep that in mind. And there's a couple of Mons here that I saw you slipping on. I'm not sure if you used them or not, and I understand that you're trying to hit the max crit rate, but over here, as soon as I saw this, I was like, this is instantly sus, because you have an attack gem right here with a little bit of crit rate up there. There's a unfinished crit rate gem. This is a 6-star ruin gem, which you can get to 54%. Okay, fair enough. Then I went over here and I was like, we got him, boys. We got him. Crit rate, attack, I don't care what Mon you have it on, I don't care what the set bonus is complete and utter garbage. If you can take a look at his stats right here, dude literally has nothing. If you sneeze on this Hunter, he will die. Hunter, we're not going to talk about Hunter. I have a video about Hunter. I'm not going to go into that, but I do implore you, depending on what Mons and what you need to use them for, that you try your best not to do that. If you can't hit max crit rate on a ruin set, perfectly fine. Put him on intuition. That way you're not gouging out his stats in other areas just to have him, you know, be able to do his morale boost, which goes into stun. I'm not saying that this is bad, but in terms of performance, well, you know. But other than that, I didn't see too many things wrong. Just once again reiterating, your triple attack on everything does work in certain situations, but in other situations it wouldn't work out. Like with Draka, for instance, you're going full on attack with Draka, but Draka's kit is purely for debuffing. And debuffers in general, their biggest thing is just making sure that they can survive to do their debuffs. They're not there to do damage. You have courageous strikers on your right side of Titans to do the damage. So I just wanted to bring that up real quick. So let's go ahead and move on to the next part, which is Golems. Now I believe this is your B7 setup right here. It's not too bad. Yeah, I don't really have too much to complain about with that. And it looks like you have been farming these, which is fine. But at 48, I think it is time for you to get really close to breaking into B10. So let's go ahead and see if I can set up a team for you here. And what I like to do with B10 is, if possible, at least use 2 wave clearers and 2 sappers. You do have Fire Draka at Evo 2. Not the end of the world. It's better than no Fire Draka at all. You have a C-star. She's not here right now, but I'll put her like a placeholder. We're going to act like that's Water Miho for right now. And then we need another wave clearer, and I'm actually going to trade that out because I don't believe your Draka has max crit. But something like this could work for you right now. I'm not going to say that it's stable or it's super duper amazing, especially since Fire Draka isn't at Evo 3. But in terms of wave clearers that I could find that could possibly work, this seems to be the best bet. So, I mean, you could trade out C-Star with Odin and have Odin take all the hits while Fire Draka can essentially, hopefully, clear out the waves at Evo 2. But at the very minimum, you're going to need 2 sappers. I didn't see Dark Flora, even though that she just came around, because I would recommend her over either C-Star or, remember, this is Water Miho. But essentially, you want to have 2 sappers and 2 wave clears. Dark Sea Star isn't technically a wave clearer, but we're trying to use her for her crit lead to hopefully boost up your Draka's crit. And if Draka isn't at max crit, hopefully that will bring Draka to max crit to get the most damage out of her. If not, you could always drop Sea Star and put in Banshee instead at level 60 and run with Banshee and Draka. That way you have defense down being applied, and even though Puncture ignores defense down, once Banshee gets her next turn and she starts hitting mons, well, that may be just a better setup for you in general. But once again, we would have Water Miho right here. If you had Dark Flora, she would be right here. If not, if you pull a Water Artemis or a Fire Purse, you would have them right here instead. But I mean, that's pretty much it. If you find that your mons are dying because of this team, then I would definitely drop maybe Banshee and put in your Light Odin instead, the tank. But we're trying to go for the fastest time as possible. So the real big thing to focus on is getting these mons to level 60. I personally don't find any reason to Super Evo Water Sea Star or Water Miho unless you like them, because that 10% increase into their base stats doesn't override the fact that they're just like average sappers in general. So it's really up to you. Just make sure they're booked up. Make sure all of your mons have trinkets. Level 60, if you can enhance them as well, that's always great. I would at least focus on getting Draka enhanced if possible, and that would be your B10 team for now. If you're having issues getting to this point, obviously I'm going to tell you just keep farming the other golems that you did, because it looks like you have a good grasp of B7 through B9 until your gems quality gets up. And if your mons are dying, especially in the first turn in here, I'm going to go ahead and say that your mons are probably on triple attack. And in certain situations with wave clears, that does work out. But for Miho and Sea Star, in my opinion, I would personally try to run them on HP attack. But do remember that this is all just advice. I do think you're B10 ready, if not very, very close to being B10 ready. And yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of golems for right now. I don't want to get too far into B11 because I don't think that's going to happen. And also, I did forget to mention as well, this could translate over to dragons as well. I'm not sure how far you're into dragons, but if you wanted to get some like great value siphon gems for your Draka or for your Banshee, just for the purpose of B10 or wave clearing in general, I do implore you to use the teams that you're using here. Just once again, if you're having troubles in dragons, I do have a dragons video that can really help you out here. But I always try to bring in, if possible, 2 CCers, maybe a damage dealer and a healer if I'm starting out in dragons. So you would drop your weakest link here, which could possibly be Mushi, and bring in whatever healer that you have. So if you had like a Hana, that would be super duper poggers right there. You could bring in baby girl Hana and make sure that she can at least heal the squad. If not, you can go ahead and slide in Mini Cat instead and run with his lead, because he can apply attack up and help boost Shiva's damage even more and just add some stability to your team. And the same thing goes with the other lower level dragons. You would just be doing essentially the same element. So for the Wood Dragon, in this instance, you would bring in Arthur. You could bring in Indra, Fire Draka, and then whatever healer that you have. If you can get through just fine without a healer, you can always drop your healer. You could bring in Candling just to apply defense down to hopefully get a little bit more damage off and make things a little bit more stable. Or you can go ahead and slide in who else was it? I saw someone else, dude. You could go and slide in Amon like Fire Wild Fang. Once again, after dying, they're probably on triple attack, and you need to take care of that issue, as I stated before. And the same thing goes with the other dragons here. Remember, I'm acting like this is dragon. So for the, what is it, the Fire Dragon, let's take a look at your mons in terms of fire. So Shelly can apply the defense down, which is always great. Sea Star is kind of useless right there. You could also bring in Draka, but your Draka is like more DPS, Draka's more DPS orientated, and we really just need that defense down. You could slide in your Balrona here if you have to. You can also bring in, I wouldn't say Sieg, but Mona, and then also if you want to bring in Siren just to be safe and have a healer, I think that's perfectly fine as well. If not, you can go balls to the wall and bring in your hardest hitting mons, as long as you have Shelly in there, hopefully nuking the first mon as soon as you start dragons and applying defense down onto the dragon once you get to the dragon, so hopefully the rest of the squad can go ahead and DPS the dragon down. Now this is simplified, but once again, I do have guides about dragons, so if you want to check that out for a more in-depth or a more deeper look at different type of team compositions, I would implore you to do so. But once again, if you're having issues with full DPS teams, try and bring a healer in there, and if you're having issues then I would go ahead and honestly say that you have a very, very big gem problem because your mons aren't gemmed up properly. And then addressing your farming issue here, it looks like you have a good understanding of it. Just like we're going to use your Banshee and your Draka for wave clearing in terms of B10, it's the same thing right here. Obviously, if you had a Fire Siegfried, I would throw him in there too, because I try to run 3 wave clearers in whatever mon that I'm trying to level up. That way, I'm getting the fastest clear times possible, and I'm also leveling up a mon. So I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone here just for farming purposes and making things a lot easier. But I do implore you to get Fire Draka in the future to Evo 3. Sacrifice what you have to if you can. If you can't, that's perfectly fine. You can do World Boss, and even though it takes a while, you could farm out the Evo 2 Fire Gleams and get your Draka to Evo 3. It takes a while, but I promise you it is super duper worth it. Get your Banshee up to 60, and in terms of any other wave clearers, if you can get a Fire Siegfried, that would be super great. It is unfortunate that you didn't get a Dark Mona when she was around last month, but that's not the end of the world. In terms of any other wave clearers though, I mean, you have Dark Tina, but she's only at Evo 2. You have Light Sarah, that's only at Evo 2. I don't really count those. We want something at Evo 3. Draka is an exception because of Puncture. It's just super duper poggers. And then, I mean, there's Shadow here, but he's Evo 1, and he's not really much of a wave clearer until his attack up gets pretty much up there. But yeah, I would say you could pick up a Fire Siegfried if you want. If not, I mean, it's a couple months away, which is perfect timing for you. I would try and strive for a Dark Tina at that point in time, and just that way you have 2 dedicated wave clears. And if you can get Banshee on a Siphon set and Draka on a Siphon set, at least Banshee, I think that would be super duper helpful for you in terms of farming PvE stages, because 3 wave clears and one mon that I'm leveling up is pretty much all I do. In terms of PvE of just clearing out stages. The same thing that I do with the Casualty account as I'm getting wave clearers built up for that. Alright, we're taking a look at your PvP offensive team. Very, very weird champ right here. You have a Water Mono lead. You have Kokomaru here for some CC, aka crowd control. You have not Fire Sig, but Water Siegfried, which has Exposed Weakness and Courageous Strike in PvP. And then you have your attack base Arthur. If you're using Arthur in an offensive situation, I would drop one of those attack gems and give him an HP gem, because his HP pool isn't that great, and especially as an attacker mon, his stats are more orientated towards offense, which is fine. But remember, his kit isn't in the direction of offense. His kit is more of a crowd control / debuffer with stun and defense down. So I would definitely give him an HP gem, drop one of them attack gems, because no matter how much attack gems or how much attack you give him, he doesn't have the kit to fully utilize all of that attack. You can have attack on him, but I would drop at least 1 gem, because if he gets hit, he's going to die. He's absolutely going to die. But I would definitely drop Water Sig. He's not helping you at all in this situation right here. You do have a Light on Myoji, which, let's take a look at her skills here. She has SP Siphon and Shock. I don't know why you don't have this baby girl in here. Not only does she have CC, but she has double CC. Like, that's beautiful. I would definitely be running baby girl on Myoji in here. There's really no excuse as to why you aren't. You can also run in with your Dark Sea Star with that crit lead if you need some more damage from your mons that are on crit possibly. Fire Indra could be useful here, especially if he was at Evo 3, depending on his build, because of his elemental edge, and he does some decent damage. But something like this would be a lot better than what you're using, in my opinion, because Myoji can kind of control these guys and prevent them from getting their moves off in most situations. And if her SP bar gets full, well, congratulations. Hopefully that shock will stick to them and you won't have too much trouble with that. And then you also have a Light Yuki, which once again is another crowd control mon, and having not only your Yuki but you're Amayoji on the same team means that hopefully you can kind of spread the aggro in between those two. So if you're fighting a Darkmon, like these two girls right here, they're not going to target one Mon and hopefully kill them. Well, in most cases kill them, especially if your Amayoji is kind of built more like a bruiser in this case, but they can kind of like mitigate the aggro from each other and hopefully survive. So I would run a team more like this, where you can basically make the enemies unable to move, versus the team that you had before, because you're trying to do that, but you have better mons that are just better suited for the job in general. And I mean, Dark Sea Star doesn't have to be here, but she's tanky, and there's nothing wrong with that. And especially if there's a light mon on the field, they'll automatically ignore these three and go for Dark Sea Star for right now. It really just depends on the quality of your gems in terms of what you're doing in PvP. Let me see if there's any other mons that you could use. I mean, you also have Dark Lupin, which, does he have Hunter? SP Siphon and Hunter. So, you could run 2 SP Siphoners, even though I mainly just run 1. But they do have decent 5-star skills, and then you'll have 2 light and 2 dark mons. And that should mitigate any damage from like the RGBs, since they're not as effective. But your real crutch will be if you fight light and dark teams. But obviously I wouldn't run this on auto, I would run this on manual. That way you can kind of control the field with 2 of your mons, and then your other 2 mons can be crowd controllers or nukers. And then once everyone gets their SP up, hopefully it's like happy birthday to the ground. But this is what I would do offensively here. Try and run as much crowd control as possible. Take advantage of your SP Siphon mons, and make sure the mons that you're using here, like Yuki for example, you can run her triple attack if you want, but I would honestly at least give her like an HP gem and try and hit max crit with HP attack or even defense attack, especially because she's not super evolved or anything like that. And you know, you want to do some damage, but you also want to prevent them from doing any damage to you. And that was not defense wise, but offensively wise. Your defense party though: Sea Star, Draka, Seether, Amayoji, and then Nike. But why? Seether has to go, he has to go, or she has to go. Those 2 mons, number 1, your Water Siegfried is built, not Water Siegfried, your Water Draka is built like super duper DPS like, so Water Draka is instantly going to die. Seether is just a frail mon in general, so they're automatically just going to die. It doesn't really matter, they're just literally going to die. In terms of your setup here, you could run something similar though to your offensive team, but we kind of want to get like a mix in here. I do see that you have a Nightmare, so you could always slide Baby Girl Nightmare up in there. What's her lead? Resistance. Yeah, that's not too good. That's not too good at all. Where's Sea Star at? And then I hope that you have a decent Fire Mon. So a mon like Fire Victoria would be perfect in this situation. That way you kind of have a mixed bag of mons to deal with, and not just like 1 or 2 types that people will just be able to nuke, no doubt. And I mean, you could bring like Miho in here for this situation. Is it the best team ever? No, but it's definitely better than what you're working with here, especially with all of these at Evo 3, and hopefully pushing max resist to, you know, whatever max that you can get it to. And then for your hidden though, I would like have like maybe a light Yuki hidden, especially in SP season, because if she comes out and her SP is full, obviously during the special season, she can hopefully shock the other team. If not, in most situations, I would try and run something that is just equally tanky and as annoying. So once one tanky mon drops, another tanky mon will come to replace that mon. And I mean, you do have a Wood Leo, but I don't know. It's really up to you to choose what you want from this situation right here. I mean, you could keep Light Nike, but she's not really a threat in my opinion. Is there anyone? Is there any mons over here, man? You have Dark Valkyrie. Yeah, I'll leave that up to you. I can't do all the work. For your hidden mon, though, I would try and use a tanky mon if possible. And, I mean, Nightmare is great. But I think a water wild thing, especially with her lead, would benefit you a lot more, especially in terms of Amayoji, and also it gets you some more crowd control up in there. You can even use your water wild thing as a hidden if you want, but if she's variant, I would run her as your leader, and then I would have Nightmare as a hidden, or maybe Dark Seesaw as a hidden. But that should take care of your PvP squad. Now in terms of Colossus here, I'm not sure what Colossus that you've done already, because it looks like you cleared out 2 of those, but that's always super duper good news. I would definitely say that Wood Colossus is definitely doable for you. You know, I'm not sure if that's the one that you did, but with Shinobi here and Wukong, that should be fairly easy. You would slide in Kira, and I mean, you could always bring in Candling instead. Well, Candling as well, and run maybe with Candling's lead, depending on your gem quality. And basically you have 2 mons that can apply defense down to the Colossus, and then Shinobi would come in there with Courageous Strike, and then if Wukong can get his SP full, he can also hit Courageous Strike. And congratulations, Wood Colossus is down. It just really takes good gem quality for that. In terms of the other Colossuses though, I don't do Water Colossus, so I don't have any opinion on that. Light and Dark, kind of similar here. Bring as many Courageous Strikers as you can, so like Wukong and Shinobi here. Let's see who else. You can go ahead and bring in your Water Stand Wraith, and then the best healer that you have. She has like a shield. I would prefer someone with attack up, like even like Minicat, but I don't see any Minicats whatsoever on your team, which is a bit unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of simplifying this because that's pretty much all that it takes depending on your gem quality. But I would just run as many Courageous Strikers as you can with a healer or a mon that can apply defense down, even though Eileo, either Light or Dark Colossus, doesn't have any defense. Why would I do that? Why would you not do that? If you had Exposed Weakness instead with like your Water Siegfried, you can feel free to slide him up in there as well, and hopefully as long as you time it right, you can have Siegfried apply the Exposed Weakness, and then have Shinobi or your hardest hitting Sea Striker then take that hit to get a whole bunch of damage off of them. What is it? Fire Colossus. You do have Water Balrona, so you could always slide Water Balrona up in there. You could slide in Draka, Indra, and then there's also Shelly to apply that defense down right off the bat. Kind of redundant with Weaken and defense down, but it's up to you who you want to use. And if I had a healer, I would bring them in there, but Minicat's not really going to help you too much there. But I mean, it's pretty much the same kind of thing going on here. You do have Bass as well, so you could actually just like drop Draka and put in your Bast and run something like that. It's not going to be the fastest team in the world, but it's going to be better than nothing. And I mean, that pretty much covers Colossus. I do apologize that I kind of glided over this, but I do have Colossus videos up, and this is just to give you a little bit of insight into that without beating a dead horse. Tower of Chaos I'm not really going to cover because it looks like you're at floor 105, so you have a good understanding of what to do in terms of Tower of Chaos. Your main issue probably stems though from, once again, your gems and maybe the mons that you're using. But once your Draka and your Banshee especially gets gemmed up properly, and hopefully we get some more damage and some stability out of them, it'll be a lot better for you. If you're having issues with wave clearing in the Tower of Chaos, I do implore you to try and maybe slide up in your PvP offensive team that we had worked on, where you have at least your Amayoji and your Yuki together, so Amayoji can kind of control the other mons that you're up against, and then Yuki can hopefully apply some shock to them and prevent them from acting. And having a Wood Hana lead could definitely benefit you in that situation as well because of her discernment, so do keep that in mind. And last but not least is your Titans teams. You do have one Shinobi here, you have a Fire Wukong, so you could get a little bit of damage out of the Wood Titan, but I did not see any Cupids. You have one Kira. I would definitely pick up another Kira, but I would pick up at least 2 Cupids just for the attack up, at least for your right side. Other than that, I mean, I can't really think of any mons right off the top of my head that you need to farm out, but definitely get 2 Cupids ASAP if you're serious about Titans. In terms of hitting Fire Titan though, kind of a similar boat here. You do have Siegfried, Sanwraith, Balrona, Indra, and you have Draka as well. In terms of healers, I would definitely pick up a light ribboness, which is a light bell, not light bell pup, but water bell pup. Water ribboness, which is water bell pup. I would pick up one of those. Who else though? Yeah, I would definitely pick up a water bell pup, without a doubt. I would also, you do have one bass, which is pretty great, but if you have to pick up some water Khatins, I would, you do have one. I would pick up another one of those just to, round your mons out with a little bit more defense ups on your squad. One bass isn't the end of the world. It is what it is, but you could always put her towards your right side, in my opinion. To stick with Balrona on your bottom right lane. In terms of, Water Titan, Zubaji, Thor. I wouldn't bother at this point in time. If you do want to bother though, start working on getting 4 Wood Hanas up to Evo 3. Go ahead and pick up another Mini Cat. You do have one Phibian right there. Go ahead and pick up another Phibian. And then other than that, you just need to pray to the gods basically for some courageous strikers, dedicated courageous strikers for Water Titan. Light and dark, we didn't see any light or dark courageous strikers. You could definitely farm out light Siegfried in the future, which is something that you may be looking forward to. Perfectly fine, but we can address that then. But that pretty much wraps up everything. I did gloss over kind of a little bit of things over here just to make it kind of simpler to go through in terms of the videos, but resources are out there to kind of help you, and I just want to give you like a little taste of what you should work for. But I think overall your account's fine. You have a good understanding of your mons. It's just that triple attack isn't always the answer for everything, and I do implore you to go back and at least watch your mons in a PvE or a Titan situation and see where they're falling at, because 9 times out of 10, if you're running a debuffer with a full attack kit, we're not even talking about crit rate because I didn't see super duper high crit rate or anything with triple attack. But if you're running your debuffers with a offensive kit on them and they die within a turn or two, there's no point of having that debuffer or having that mon in general, because they're dead. They can't do the job that they're meant to do. So I do implore you to kind of reconsider higher gemming up specific mons for certain situations. Make sure you get those PvP mons booked up if you can. Level 60, we need trinkets, enhancements, as much resist as possible without you sacrificing, max resist for a piss poor set when you can have max resist on a very, very good broken set. Always remember, broken sets 9 times out of 10 are superior than complete sets, because complete sets do compromise everything just to have a complete set and have their mon just do piss poor damage and have a piss poor performance. But that's pretty much it. I definitely hope this video helped. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out on me in Discord. If you guys want an account review done, you have to join the Discord. The link is below. You can come hang out with the boys here. We have the lovely MSL bot where you can literally type into Discord and look up a mon on a whim without having to go to the Astro Guide or ask someone or Google or anything like that. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. My voice is cracking, and peace out.